Oh hey, welcome back. Got another devlog here. Made it to number 10. Pretty good. So yeah, let's just get into it. I've added in the concept of game scenes. So now this is the main menu game scene, and I've added in an editor game scene, a start game. Actually, I guess this is just a game scene that loads a preset start initial game. This loads from a previous game. And this is the editor scene, which is a little different. Look at this first. So yeah, we can see we are currently in the spaceship where the player starts area, and you can move the camera around. You can look at the star system itself. All the other things work, like space portals. It doesn't have any logic for going through them, though. Kind of deliberately left it like that. Does allow you to quickly move around and have a look at everything. Go down to planets, start in the top left corner where nothing is, but that's alright. Yeah, you can click on objects, that all works. This currently doesn't quite work, allows you to look at things, but doesn't actually, the editing of doesn't really work. That's alright. Yeah, so some of these other planets that I've not really shown off because I've done nothing with them for now. Yes, the main point, obviously, of this is so that I can actually start filling in some of these areas. And when I have it, I can go in there, plop in more trees, plop in different kinds of trees, actually start forcing myself to have to do some AI on this because these don't move. And yeah. Okay, so don't need to look at the editor, loading. I don't know if I even made that button do anything, so let's just start the game. Hey, and we're back. Alright. I don't remember if I had the stop fly button there, but I've added in, like, here's a menu in here, which obviously I need in the editor. But I got it where everything kind of pauses, including all these animations, which are shader driven. I actually made it all based on a time scale, so I've got it where I can actually speed up time and slow down time, which I thought I could use it for something else. I might not, but you know, it's here. So yeah, I've got it where effectively time stops when you pause. Because you know, I feel like that makes sense. Don't really have anything else to show on the planet, but we can go back here. Yeah, kind of got all the clicking on things working again. Very tiny. I need to make teleporter bigger. It's a device that can transport you across the galaxy, and it's this tiny little 8x8 pixel thing. You know, I feel like it needs some more grandiose. Yeah, birds are still birding. Kind of moved around so that they don't have any interactions at the moment, so kind of doesn't clog up the interactions list. Yeah. So menu, yep, everything else here seems to pause, that's good. Yeah. That's really it for the UI side of things. The other side of things, however, is what took the most of this time. Most of the time. Right. Here we can see, got a 20,000 trees I've placed on the first planet. And you can see there's a lot of draw calls that go on, and it's only hitting around 45 frames a second. And even so, even when I leave the planet, the frame rate still doesn't go up. It kind of goes up, but like it's still like it's better, but there is still a little bit of lag there. Maybe it's not quite as easy to show, but it's there. All right, so now here's me stress testing it a bit more with 100,000 trees. Now you can definitely see that the frame rate, even when you're not on that planet, is definitely low. And when you get to that planet, oof, yeah, is not great. That draw call number, that's a lot of draw calls. Yeah, so obviously I'm never going to need 100,000 trees, but I want this to be an end goal that it should be playable at 100,000. So let's see what we can do. One of the things I ended up doing is putting in batching, but you can see here one of my first attempts at doing the batching did not work, and I was greeted, even though all the trees are still there, you can see in the interactions list, I was greeted with a giant, just one giant tree in the top left corner of this map. I'm like, something's gone wrong. But guess what? I solved it. I did all the things. So, you can see here, top right, it's got all the, what is the cursor currently under? I put this on a little script where it'll actually just like move the dog to the bottom of all the trees and then move to the right of all the trees. I will speed up this footage. Don't worry, because it takes a while. But yes, so the main thing I did first was quadtree. Main thing? That was one of the things I did, was implement all the trees in the quadtree. Currently, they were all just being rendered, whether they were on screen or not, and one of the things involved, the easiest way to figure out like where should, what is the view currently looking at, is to use a quadtree, use the current viewport and be like, okay, what is hitting, what is visible? That alone helped a bunch. One of the main things, however, was that I was still looping through all the trees even when I was on the ship to find where are all the teleporters. So I added in some extra grouping of objects to be like, okay, here's a planet, here's an area, we care about teleporters, we care about finding out just the teleporters when you're looping over an area. Here you go, here's the list. So that way we don't have to loop over 100,000 trees just to find one teleporter, or no teleporters, just when you're in space. So that helped some more. Another thing that helped a lot was adding in some form of batching. Because all those trees are basically static, they're all using the same texture. Obviously this is a bit of oversimplification, but if I'm going to have a whole bunch of objects in the same area that are on screen at the same time, I should really just render the same ones with the same texture all at once. Or as much as I can anyway. So basically what I do is I add in, like, I know this is the kind, I've got a special render function call for, I know this is the kind of object that will probably batch well, and it adds it to a batching queue, and then it kind of just combines all those vertices into one vertex array and uses that all in one go. That definitely helps dramatically reduce it. There's probably more work to be done with it. I'm potentially overfitting this sort of exact situation of here is way more trees than will ever show up of all the same kind. But yeah, we'll see. The batching actually didn't help as much as I thought once I actually culled all the things that were off screen. Like, once you cull all the things off screen, that makes a big difference. So, yeah. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe I'll end up getting rid of batching, and it just won't actually be all that useful for... It'll just end up being extra CPU overhead when there's only going to be, like, 100 different things on screen at once. So, yeah. Alright, we're at the end. That took over 8 minutes. As you can see, all the physics is still here. I can still pick up trees. That UI needs some work, but you can still plop down trees and get pushed out of the way by the physics. The sorting all still works. Alright, for the laptop. So, this is my final test rig. It's an old ThinkPad X220 running Pop OS. Yeah, and this is my test. Here I've added in a way that I can move much more quickly. I wasn't going to fully record all of this, and I wasn't going to ask this poor laptop to also record its own screen at the same time as play this game. But yeah, here's 100,000 trees, and, here's me racing through it pretty quickly. You can still interact with things. I think I show it a bit later, but it's getting a pretty solid 50 frames a second, which again, when there's 100,000 trees, I'm pretty happy with. One of the final things that still uses up a bunch of CPU is the Box 2D calculations. Box 2D is obviously fairly optimized because I've got 100,000 objects here and I'm not telling it anything else. I'm not telling it like what's on screen, what's off screen, and it's handling it pretty well. It looks like it has an internal tree, like some sort of spatial partitioning of its own. Yeah. But I was quite happy with this. Obviously, 100,000 trees is way more trees than I'll ever need. But I really wanted to make sure that if I do, I just want to not have to worry about it too much. So, right here at the end, I show that is indeed maxing out maxing out the poor laptop's, one of the poor laptop's threads. But yeah, also you can also see it's only using around 225 meg of RAM. It's pretty good. Okay, so things to do next is actually make this editable. Back to something. Yeah, make it so that the editing actually works. It's annoying because the last time I tested it did, but I'm sure it's whatever. Like, there's heaps more to do. Make it much more usable. This other view here was pretty much just for debugging purposes. Really just mostly to inspect things and be like, oh yeah, that's this thing and all that sort of stuff. So I want to have it that like you can place down different kinds of trees and actually put down stuff, and then I can create some new types of objects. Like, here's this one tree. It doesn't look amazing, but it looks kind of alien, so that's kind of what I was going for. But yeah, we need some rocks. We need some other foliage. We want to be able to put down different animals. Yeah, I kind of want to flesh out some of these areas so I can get a better feel for them, and more importantly, then start to sort of really test out the AI in some of these situations, and like, yeah, probably force myself to get into pathfinding, because right now, these birds, they do not pathfind. They go in a straight line because there's nothing to get in the way, really. So yeah. Anyway, that'll be next. Which I can see taking some time, but it's been fun doing all the optimizations. Anyway, see you later.